Hey everyone, it's Victoria with Nutrition by Victoria, and I have a Master's of Science in Human Nutrition, and I specialize in helping you build a high functioning metabolism so that you can get and stay effortlessly slim, lean, fit, and healthy while eating an unlimited amount of carbohydrates. The diet that I promote and personally follow is the holy grail in regards to food freedom and body freedom, health freedom, and but not a lot of people will achieve this, and this is why. So, the majority of people that I work with personally come from an extensive dieting background. They've done the keto diet or some form of carbohydrate calorie restriction. On and off for years. Most people don't just eat unlimited amounts of carbohydrates their entire life, right? We're not taught that. Carbohydrates are demonized in our society. Sugar is demonized, even though intake has gone down as obesity rates have risen. So I'm here today to talk to you about what you need to do in order to be successful, because it is something that is achievable. I've achieved it. I've had to work very hard in order to achieve it, but I stayed the path and I was dedicated. And I basically said, I don't have other options. Or on my journey, because I've been doing this for 12 years now, I have also, dabbled in low calorie density eating or raw veganism or other forms of manipulating the amount of food that I am taking in instead of just like eating as much as I want, right? So there are two sides to the spectrum here. There is figuring out how to calorie restrict in order to be slim, right? Because you can lose weight calorie restricting. It is the standard model of weight loss. It also will temporarily improve your insulin sensitivity, lower blood sugar levels, but it comes at a cost. Slows down the metabolism, primes the body to become insulin resistant when sufficient calories start coming back in. So that's why most people will not try the high carb, unlimited calorie, food freedom, body freedom, health freedom lifestyle, because they're going to gain weight. I gained weight. Majority of my clients gain weight initially. If you are one of the rare people who come to me and don't have a passive calorie restriction and you're eating as much as you want, you'll lose weight. But most people, they're drinking diet sodas. They're eating more fat and protein than they are carbohydrates. It's just the way that we've been conditioned over the last 3 decades, I'd say. When I started getting into the health and nutrition aspects of weight loss when I was a teenager, I learned very quickly that low carb is the way to eat. Low carb and calorie restriction is how it started for me, and that's what I followed. I got the results, but I yo-yoed. It was so hard to maintain because the body doesn't want to be starved of glucose. Glucose is our primary fuel source. It is the gasoline for our car, right? And you wouldn't just not fill your car all the way up if you got a long way to go, right? If you want to be the most productive version of yourself, right? Because that's what comes with this. The fittest version of yourself, because that's what also comes with this. And these are the things that drive the aesthetic that you desire. Ultimately, everybody wants to look fit, slim, lean, healthy, right? Fit into their favorite jeans, look great in a pair of yoga pants, have that six-pack abs at the beach. That's for men only, right? We can have lines as women, but when we start getting into six-pack territory, then our estrogen levels may be too low and we'll need to increase dietary fat, right? Because you're eating unlimited carbohydrates to get to this place, right? But I've been eating unlimited carbohydrates for 12 years and I've never, experienced a very low body fat level. But I've also been a low body fat level, let's give context, where I need to increase the amount of fat in my diet. But if those of you who have been following me, I've had 3 pregnancies during that time period as well, and then I've been breastfeeding for the majority of time too. So for me, those things, hormone profile is a little bit different than somebody who's going to be, not in that realm of hormones where you're not pregnant and you're not breastfeeding, because those things hold a little bit more fat on your body naturally. And that's the other thing to get into that a lot of people don't understand, is everybody wants to know, how many calories do you eat? Well, I just showed a chronometer data video for you guys, and it came in at 4,300 calories, and I still have people telling me that you have to be running a calorie deficit to be the size that you are. Maybe though, just maybe, it's not a mathematical equation, because it's not, okay? You cannot calculate how many calories you burn and how many calories you eat and actually absorb from your food that translates to calories in, calories out. It is a theory, right? A theory that works when you calorie restrict, but the nutritional science will say, and this is included in my coaching program for those of you who want a more extensive rationale as to, how this all works. I've written it up for you and included references and every kind of scientific paradigm that you need in order to understand the way that this works. That when you undereat basically when you starve your body of glucose, because that's what it all comes down to. Do you have enough glucose or do you not have enough glucose? Because that is how our metabolism gauges itself in our body. That's how homeostasis is maintained, is through glucose regulation. Okay, so when there isn't enough glucose coming in, we will censor that, and our body will say, hey, we need to increase blood sugar levels by releasing glucagon, and it'll start turning protein into sugar, basically, through the liver. And then it will increase beta oxidation of fatty acids, and that will also trigger metabolic changes that slow the metabolic rate and prime our body for fat storage when the calories start coming in. So to get back to what I was going to talk about at the beginning of this video, why people fail on this lifestyle is because they don't stick it out. You have to be diligent, you have to be patient, and you have to be consistent. I had a client write to me, unfortunately, telling me that they were no longer going to be following my advice because it's not working, because they're gaining weight. I hear this a lot, and what I tell everyone is that look at your past though, right? Did you calorie restrict in the last year? Did you carbohydrate restrict in the last year? Were you on a keto diet in the last year? Yes, yes, yes is usually the answer. So how can you expect to just lose weight when you told your body that it was starving? Does that even make sense? Like, from a rational perspective, that your body would want to lose its fat stores after you just told it that it was starving for that long? I don't think so, and that's not how it works. Your body needs to have regular glucose, carbohydrate, calorie sufficiency for long enough before your body's like, oh, okay, now we can drop some excess fat and fluid stores because we're not starving. We're not in a famine. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. We're not in a famine. So now we can be insulin sensitive and our leanest, fittest, slimmest selves and healthiest, because there is food available, so we don't need to store it. So Vegan Deterioration, I watch her channel every once in a while. She does have some interesting, comments to make, and she did say recently that it's unnatural for humans to be slim and lean. And she's right, actually. And there's only two ways you can become slim and lean. And, that's everybody's desire, right? Nobody wants to be fat. Everybody wants to be slim and lean, because that is, by default, how we are healthy, right? So even when we're calorie restricting, our blood glucose numbers can look better. Our lipid profiles can look better. Our triglycerides will be lower, right? But like I said, it comes at a cost. You cannot, here's the outcomes of calorie restriction long term, right? You're going to be more prone towards osteoporosis, and just hypothyroidism and muscle wastage. When you calorie restrict and you can maintain it long term. Also, advanced aging. Like, think about all the anti-aging products that are on the market now, right? And they're all geared towards women. Men don't care. Men don't usually calorie restrict their whole lives, right? But women do. They, we have an insane ability to do what we want, right, as women. And Harley Johnstone was talking about this in a video I was watching today, actually, is how women are so driven by their aesthetics. They'll do anything to be aesthetically appealing, right? A slim, hot, fit-looking chick, even into old age. So most women, they calorie restrict. The latest on the market is using Ozempic. What I'm proposing is something that keeps you looking youthful and helps you stay fit, lean, and healthy while eating as much as you want. Like, to me, that is like the ultimate, like, who wants to calorie restrict their whole lives and take appetite suppressants, use stimulants? Because you can't calorie restrict like that without doing something artificial to your appetite, because at some point your appetite is going to override that starvation attempt. Or the flip side of that is the obese person, because they've been yo-yo dieting their whole lives, so they're constantly, oh, I'm on this diet, I've lost this weight, can't lose it anymore, don't want to anymore, binge out, gain it all back. Oh, I'm heavy now, so I'm going to calorie restrict again, but then this time it doesn't work so well, and then they're just going back and forth. And the whole time, why are they fat, right? Because they're programming their body for fat storage every single time they calorie restrict. All your body is sensing, oh, there's a famine, we're programmed for fat storage. There's a famine, we're programmed for fat storage. And it's through cortisol, elevated cortisol, and, the cascade of survival mechanisms that get triggered when there isn't enough glucose available. So, getting back to, why most people will not stick to this is because they come from their restrictive past. Or even maybe they think that they weren't restricting their calories in their past, and they start giving their body ample amounts of glucose in the form of fruit, sugar, and starches, eating as much as they want, and now there's some weight gain. And if you stick it out, I promise you, though, you'll get to where you want to be. But it's how, do you have what it takes in order to do that, though? Are you willing to be patient and consistent enough? Are you willing to keep the fat out of your diet for years? Because that's what it's going to take for you to meet your goals. That's what I've done in order to have the aesthetic that I have after having 3 kids. And right now I'm 6 months postpartum. Okay. I never have to worry about my weight ever again. And I can eat as much as I want every single day of my favorite foods. Fruit, sugars, and starches are everybody's favorite foods. You can make anything from those foods. You can make all of your favorite high fat, high carb foods from low carb or low fat, high carb versions. Actually, I'm working on a recipe book that's going to feature my favorite foods: pizza, fries, sushi, veggie stir fries. I'm gonna start working on no-fat flour tortillas for burritos, things like that, because those are all the foods that you can eat as much as you want of on this lifestyle and get to where you want to be. So the last thing that I want to say is that Harley Johnstone, during writer in the video that I was watching today when I was on a jog, was talking about how you should focus on your performance. instead of your aesthetic. So many people are like getting on and off the scale, on and off the scale, and making they're slaves to the scale, right? Well, the scale said I'm 5 pounds heavier today. The scale said I'm 10 pounds heavier today. The scale says I'm 80 pounds heavier now. Like, you're wrong. This diet's horrible. And is it my fault that the scale's saying that? Or is it your fault from the calorie restriction that you've done and programmed your body to respond this way? Because that's the reality of what's going on. But if you stop focusing on the scale and you start focusing on performance in life, like with anything, do I have the energy today to not yell at my kids? Well, I yelled at my kids, so now I know that I need to eat more carbohydrates so that the next time I don't react that way. Okay, that's just an example. Same thing apply to your job. Was I able to handle the stress of my job today, or did the stress of my job eat me up and now I feel, horrible from that? Well, you need more carbs in order to deal with that in a more positive way, in a more successful way, in a way that's going to allow you to be on top of it. You want to be on top of it. Be on top of your fitness, be on top of your parenting, be on top of your job. And the only way to do that is by eating more carbohydrates. Those are our fuel to be able to do more. So we actually end up becoming our best selves because we put the fuel in to get the performance out that we want. So a lot of times performance translates to fitness, right? Athletic performance. So if your performance is suffering as an athlete, you need to look at your diet and lifestyle. So, are you not running as fast today? Did you sleep enough? Did you drink enough water? Did you eat enough? Most of the times it comes down to the sleep, water, food, and having enough of those in order to perform the way that you want. And then you got to be consistent about the training. I remember being so fatigued that I couldn't do anything, that everything was so taxing, and this is when I was calorie restricting, and I just didn't want to participate in life because everything was too hard. But then once I started eating more carbohydrates, it was like a light switch went on. Oh, now I have the energy to do more, but now everything is extra hard because now I'm trying to participate in it, and I've become so atrophied from performing, right? So when I first gained a lot of weight on this lifestyle, I went from being an atrophied person to now a fatter version of an atrophied person, but now I had the energy to start working through building my metabolism, right? Because that's what everybody wants, the fast weight loss, fast fat loss. You have to build your metabolism first from what you've done to it. Having an atrophied metabolism, a slowed metabolism from calorie restricting, from glucose restricting. So you have to build back better, right? I think that's a slogan. You have to build back better your metabolism so that you can be a fat burner instead of a fat storer, so that you can have the aesthetic that you want. It takes work and it takes patience and consistency, but it's fun. Enjoy the process. That's the other thing. You have to enjoy the process. Revel in how delicious the food is and how much energy you now have from the food that you're eating. I mean, who cares what you look like? It's about how you can perform in life, because nobody is more worried about how you look than you, okay? That's the reality. No one else cares about what you look like except for you. Everyone else cares about how well you perform and how you affect their lives with your performance in life, okay? So this has become like a speech. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Basically, you have two options. Are you going to calorie restrict, or are you going to eat abundantly of the foods that you're designed to eat, the carbohydrate foods? And we're not talking here about whole foods, unprocessed carbohydrates versus processed carbohydrates. Eat them all. Eat all the high carb, low fat options. Give yourself food freedom. Eat all the fruits, the sugars, the starches. Eat what you want to eat, how much you need in order to perform the way you want to in life, okay? And I guarantee you'll get the aesthetic results that you desire. All right, that's it for today's video. Leave any comments or questions down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.